Can you please call the hearing number for the record? Thank you. So, Mrs. Betsy, you're still under oath, so we will just continue where we left off, so please be seated. Before I hand over to the commissioners for questions, is there anything else you wish to say to the commission before?
Just to thank you guys for doing a splendid job. At some point, people will, people of this country will realize the real history of our little island. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Open up the floor.
Madame, merci beaucoup. Je peux vous demander une petite question concernant M. Hassan Ali. Tu es beau-frère, non?
Mon beau-frère, oui.
Ok. So, ça joue où tu dis, où tu demandes son loto, pratiquement son loto.
Oui.
Où tu gagnes loto?
Non.
Pas de gagner
loto, non.
Pas de gagner.
Pas de gagner loto.
Ok.
À cause bon matin, samedi bon matin, on the morning, like I was at work, and then a couple of friends said, "Oh, there's this ball at Poglo, or I think it was either Poglo or somewhere. Let's go." And I said, "I've got the car. How are we going to get a car? Car hire, we could get a car." So I said, "Oh, I'll ask Hassan if maybe we can lend us the car." So I was at Victoria House, so I walked across to the shop. He was there. And I asked him, "Can I borrow the car?" And he said yes. He said, "When I come home," because he used to visit us every Saturday at 3 o'clock, you can borrow the car then. But never got the car.
So, ça veut dire qu'on n'a pas aucune idée à quel moment il disparaît. D'après l'information.
D'après l'information, c'est à peu près 6 heures. Qu'il est, mon pan voili, qu'il arrivait, it take 15 minutes, or if not that, pour sortir la Louise, quand il devait rester, where he was staying. Pour arriver Saint-Louis, à peu près 15 minutes. But he didn't make it. So I thought, has he had an accident or something? So I rang my sister, just to say, well, Hassan's car, he hasn't arrived. And then he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." I said, "But what I'll do, I'll go down, I'll walk down, and then see if I can see the car." Saint Louis to, walk down and whatever. And then as I got to, I said, well, I took, rather than shortcut, I did the road one. So when I got just down the road, at past the Assami shop, and there used to be a Rasoul where the MDA's office is now. His car was there. Door open, radio still on, and his slippers on the floor. But I must say, whoever tried to get hold of Hassan, he didn't go willingly. He would have stood his ground. So.
Merci.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your evidence you shared with us. Very to the point, and you know what has happened. Could you share with the Commission the ambiance which was prevailing during the time you were living in 1979? In 1977, we gathered that there was, everybody was frightened
Yes.
Of what has happened.
Yes, we were frightened. because we didn't, like I said, we didn't have any guns. So those that had guns, those were the ones that were in charge. You couldn't be in your house without somebody, a militia, walking outside, listening to what you were saying. They were scared. We were scared, but the regime, Albert René's regime, was scared because they thought that there would be another coup d'etat or to reverse this, but that was just pure lies. We don't have guns. They're the one who's got guns. We'll fight. We'll fight with the, like I said before, with the knives, but we didn't have guns.
But you were very brave, even though the spirit was sort of, everybody was frightened. You were planning to go to a ball?
Pardon?
You were planning to go to a party, though there was the spirit of...
Oh, yeah. But they couldn't just stop us leave. At the end of the day, we had a life.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, we have one or two people with us, but people were still going, because there was no curfew then. The curfew had been lifted, and people were just going about, going to work, going there. But people were vocal. We didn't just sit down and accepted that this is it and that's it. We had to be vocal and say we were not happy with this, we were not happy with that, And if you say it, all of a sudden you see a rifle, yeah. But people were just vocal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But we didn't. None of us took it upon ourselves to fight the regime because we were also scared. But with me having a friend or two friends to go to Bal, it wasn't a problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like everybody else, my sister, even after she was arrested, she went to Coral Strand, for disco. We had to sort of show them that, hang on a minute, you've done what you needed to do. Now hopefully you can leave us and lead our lives. But no.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But we were strong, but scared and strong too.
Mm-hmm,
We wouldn't just let them drive our lives. But when we started getting threatened again, like after the because during the 77 when they had the coup, they thought that a lot of people will fight back. In their mind, I think they thought that. But nobody, not that I know of, that started to fight back. But like I said, people were just enjoying going their day-to-day lives, go to work. But I wasn't afraid to go to Bal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Bal was something that was enjoyable at that, during those days. Disco, Adrift Hotel, Cacholo, you name it, we had it. But it's not like these days. Whenever you go, there's problems.
Mm-hmm.
We were more civilized, I would say.
When you were traveling to England, you didn't have a passport. So you have a traveling document.
No, I had a passport.
You had a passport?
I had a passport, yes.
Okay. Mm.
Travel document was when I got to England after I asked for political asylum. I also asked a passport when I was in England for me to get a Seychelles passport. Albert René refused me one. That was when I was in England.
Okay.
Because when I wanted to travel to go other countries, I had to travel on a travel document.
Thank you.
Can I just ask, after the coup d'etat, how long was the curfew in place for?
I think they had, on the day itself, they had a limit of time. I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, and then curfew. I'm not quite sure if it went on for a month, but I can't remember. But you had to be in your house around that time. 8 o'clock, people go to work, and then obviously 6 o'clock, people get home and you know. But people had to run when they knew it was 6 o'clock, huh? And get to their house. Because it was those guerrillas, the boys, I call them guerrillas, the army boys, who probably didn't have any brain. Some of them didn't have any. They were uneducated, illiterate, some of them. So they wanted to please their master. So that's what they did. Started, you know, they go around in the pickup, not pickup, the Land Rover, boom, 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 like, you know, I'm in charge. Berlin was sitting at exile or Sanssouci. He wasn't roaming the town. It was them. They wanted to frighten people because they had the guns. We didn't have it.
And the incident when you were taken to go and explain whether you said a swear word at the president, I mean, is swearing at the president a crime?
According to them. According to Ogilvy Bailey, maybe. Maybe I did commit a crime, but then I had every right to do that. I believe so. I had the right to do that because he took the country by force. He committed treason. He betrayed his best friend, James Malcolm, where he swore on the Constitution when we had independence. He swore. So I think I had every right to swear at him. But I didn't swear at him then, according to Lee Kaing Sung Lui. I swore at Ogilvy Bailey. That, and he still remembers, Ogilvy still remember when one day I met him, I said to him, he said, oh, what is a woman? Every time. Yes, I will. But, you know, we got on after, you know, after we came back in 1993, you know, people were free, you know. There wasn't no malicious things after we came back in 93. Malcolm chartered a flight, aeroplane, and my sister from England, we all came back. We thought we were going to liberate our country then. You know, like coming in and have an election and, you know, a proper election. But I don't know what happened between Malcolm and Winnie when he went to see them, when he went to see him at State House. He came out of that meeting with Winnie. His face was as white as sheet. Because I don't know what else he was told in there. Like if he put fright on him or what. Supposedly he was supposed to come back and live and be happy and stuff. Well, he did because he died here. And he didn't do anything for the people. Unfortunately, he got all his land back, all his businesses, and everything else. So I don't know what conversation he had then.
And when you came back in 92, did you intend to like stay in the Seychelles for good then, get your land back, finish building your house and carry on with your life here? Or?
Originally, yes, because Louis stayed behind. We went back on that day that Malcolm came back. We came back, like, you know, we were joyful he was coming home, so we accompanied him. We got a free ticket. So we came. We wanted to see our friends, our family we hadn't seen for God knows how many years. We were in exile. But then Louis came back after that. He wanted to carry on fighting for the land. Didn't get us anywhere. Still not getting us anywhere. But then, you know what? I thank God. We carried on working really hard because Louis loved his country. I love my country, but I think he loves his country more than I do. That is the honest truth. He loves Seychelles. I have my reservations, but he can live here forever and ever and die here. we decided we wanted to have a home here. So we had a house we sold in England. That was about 12 years and whatever. And then we bought a house here at Sorrento in Glassy. The house hadn't actually had anything, was just a house that had been built for a family, and then they couldn't afford it and whatever, so we bought it. But every year he comes and he get workers, and we do things with it, decorative things. But that, I say, thank you, God, for giving us that strength not to give up and just waiting if they ever give us anything. Because I don't think they would have. I don't think. We are the enemy of this country. Why would they bother? But we showed them that we can work. In England, it wasn't easy. Going to England in unknown countries, cold, running, like when you can't particularly, during the time it was really, really cold when we were back, because I had never left my country to go anywhere. It was cold, it was difficult. Running with the pushchair with my son, holding him onto, in the snow, pulling him by my side, but we had to do it. Run for the bus, run for the train, because I had to work when we got the opportunity to go to work. I got a job straight away, and Louis got a job straight away, because he didn't just sit when he got to UK. He went to College of Printing. He was very lucky when he got there. He had a friend who had a printing company he was going to establish, and he said to him, when you have your paper, come to me, and I'll give you a job. And that was November. Our paper came that we've been... When I actually received the paper, I could see it was from the Home Office. My hands were trembling just to open that letter to say if you've been rejected or you've been given political asylum to stay in the country. I was shaking. I gave it to him. I said, open it. And then I just looked at his face to see what was happening. And then he said, yes, we got it. And then we rang the lady from Amnesty International to say thank you very much for all the help they had given to us. And we finally managed. Then straight away he called Paul, the gentleman he was doing his studying. And he said, yeah, February, the printing company, which was The Guardian in Morden, you'll start a job. We were in a council house on the 9th floor. I remember we didn't have anything. The council didn't give us anything. He gave you money for essential things like a cooker, fridge. That was a second hand. They paid directly to that company and a cooker, and that was it. We didn't have anything to sit down on. And the flat we had was underfloor heating. We were on the 9th floor. And my mum sent us some money via postal order. I remember buying my son a little folding chair so that he could sit on. And for us, we sat on the floor until the next little money came. And the next little money came. We had our bills to pay out of that money. Then that we went to them and said we've managed to get a council flat, which we were given on the 9th. You had a choice to say no, but when you haven't got anywhere to stay, what do? You take whatever you can for you to survive. So when the council offered us a flat on the 9th floor, we took it straight away. We wanted to be dependent on ourselves. Then when he started work, we started buying little bits things every month. And then we made our lives there. We stayed in the council house for quite a while. But Louis didn't want us to live in the central and eastern end of London. He wanted us to move from that rat race. So he told me, he said, one of his friends said, there is a little area in Bracknell that's just started building some new houses and, you know. He said, if we can save our money, we get a deposit, we'll buy a house there. And that's what we did. We worked towards that so that we can move from the council, because Kevin was proactive. He was a boy who wanted to play football. He was breaking everything in the house with a ball. So I had to go down below because there was an area where he could play football. So I had to go with him every night, then get him to get involved in sports and stuff. Louis used to go with him in the field. So we wanted to get him out of there. And then my daughter was born when we were still in the flat with the 2 bedrooms. You needed to make a better life for your children. It wasn't easy, like I said. I remember buying a second-hand pram from Lucy Chow, because she had given birth to the son, Daniel. And then she said to me, Julie said, but they called me Julie, but I'm not going to use it again. You can have it. And I said, it's okay. We can, because we were friends. I said, you can have a little bit of money, what we had, because I was working. And few bits and pieces like T-shirts, but though not for the boy, but little other things like at the time, during those days, we didn't have nappy. Those disposable nappies, we had to buy washable nappies. So, she gave us some, and then we decided we wanted to move away from London. So we bought a 2-bedroom a 3-bedroom in Bracknell. And that's where they started bugging us, because they were able to access better, because we were more in the open, more accessible for them to do it. That's where they photographed our house.
Can I ask a question about the arrests of your sister? So those arrests both occurred after her husband had disappeared?
Yes.
And is it your view that it was because she was asking where her husband was that she was being arrested?
That also, played a big part, because she was vocal. She was very vocal. A lot of people were just not going to be just quiet, let Alberine and his thugs do whatever they wanted. We were vocal, yes. Like, you see maybe now people are more vocal. Yes, she was asking. Plus they had a grudge with us, our family, because we were massive supporters of James Montcalm. Massive. Like I said before, when my mum put the white horse on that little dustbin where people used to come up and down, and then put that little black doll on it, Mum said, we put Chevalier Jipap lo lila. We committed a big crime, my mum did. Our family were supporters of Montcalm. So we were punished in a lot of ways for our beliefs. Yeah.
So a white horse with a little black doll on it signified support. Okay, thanks.
Mum, it was like to say Chevalier du Pape, because that was what Maxime Ferrari was, Chevalier du Pape. But Mum put it there and said, Chevalier du Pape ingan ibage. Like, you know, he lost the election against David Zoubert. David Zoubert used to be an ex-minister, black minister.
Juliana, can you just share with us what was the purpose of the militia?
The militia wanted to know what we were talking about, if we were plotting at all. So every night, as soon as he finished work at PWD, he got home where his militia that stationed outside the house. About 5, 6 o'clock. It was up and down. He go up to the top, then he comes down, station again. His presence, he thinks, would frighten us. And then we talk like we normal talk. But then at one point, it got darker and darker. We were all in the same house, and we knew he was, because we were talking against the government, and that was normal to do. Because of what they've done, we were saying these idiots that took over, we were vocal. We had to be, because this is our country. They took this country by force because of their greed. They wanted power. Nothing to say for them to say, I didn't know what was going on. Lies. They knew what was going on. They were part of the plot until they realized they couldn't get what they want out of Albertini. That's what I believe. But the militia was there. Keep fighting us.
So you would have militia looking after a region, all the houses belonging to the people of the opposition.
Yes.
They are going to be watched.
Yeah, a lot were being watched, yes. Yeah, because militia was a norm thing. They used to go to Belo, just up there, reporting at Belo, and then rather than stay with their wives and kids at night, they were patrolling, looking. I don't know if they were sleeping too while they were there, and then they have to go back to work the next day.
Were they being paid by the government?
They were not paid by any government, not that I know of. They were just duty to please the master. A lot of things happened just to please the master, Albertini. It might not have been he saying, you need to do this, but he put the militia. Belui put the militia there, like another force to be action apart from the army. And then when they got Tanzanian, then Tanzanians started beating a lot of the Seychellois. The atrocities they've done to this country and its people, it's not right.
Madam Betsy, I wanted to go back to the land issue. After you were told that you would be able to get your land back, provided you started paying, what was the time, and then you asked for a delay, I think, but what was the time delay between them telling you this and then you paying the 10,000 rupees?
It wasn't that long, because they had granted us the delay, and then I said, we were coming, one of us will come down. And it wasn't that long until I brought the 10,000 rupees.
And brought the money.
I brought the money. I had the time, we didn't have, I came down with pound, and then I exchanged it here. And then I had the 10,000 rupees, go to Mr. Ram Dam, or whatever his name is, to give him the money. He wasn't expecting me, probably, that I would come that quickly.
You had not informed them that
I
you were
hadn't
coming.
informed them that I was coming because, you know, like I said, I arrived. I didn't ask for an appointment or anything. I just walked in his office.
But they did write to you to say they accepted to give you a delay.
Well, yes, I think in the letter, I'm sure they accepted with all the correspondence we had that they will, you know, the delay is there, you know. But why is it that they waited until I got to Seychelles and giving them that 10,000 rupees, that everything all of a sudden was in a rush to get the land transferred to SEYCHELLES? If you look on where I wrote on the day, I even said the date that after I'd been here, what date I went to the registrar, that it was on the 13th of April, or something like that, that the land was transferred to SEYCHELLES. Why did they wait all this time? Why didn't they take it? Yeah, that's his name. Mr. J.A. Sundaram, attorney at law, HSDC. As per our telephone conversation of this morning, that was 28 of the 3rd, 94, I wish to confirm that we are in a position to transfer the part payment of rupees 10,000 for plot B341 at La Misère. I understand that you will have to refer the case to the minister and that you will revert to us at your earliest convenience. I will telephone you on Wednesday, 30th of March, time 1:30 p.m. Seychelles time for a final decision. If it's been accepted, please advise the account number so that telegraphic transfer can be executed. Thanking you in advance. And that's when I brought the money.
Did you get a reply?
I'm not quite sure if we did or not.
And then
This was done by fax.
Yeah. And then we see on the 15th of April, you filed a caution
Yes.
to claim an interest as a legal owner and forbid the registration of dealings. I mean, I think the land had already been transferred prior to the filing of the caution
To the government.
to the government. So you were forbidding the government from doing anything.
Yes.
And was that just ignored, that caution, or?
Well, if you look at it, how could they do that? System, Benajoj, and everything. How could they even do that? One of our solicitors, they shouldn't have done that because this is illegal. This is forgery for them to have done what they did. When they, you know, you had an attorney at law who's putting a stop to all this, you know, and then they all of a sudden didn't even bother. They just went ahead to do it.
A point of clarification. The land was transferred not to the government, but to a corporation.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, I would say, yeah, HSDC was a corporation.
Yeah,
yes, yes.
I think because the minister said the land was never transferred to the government. So we need to be right on this point.
Yeah.
It was transferred on the corporation's name, and from the corporation's name, then sold to the
Moti.
person, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tell us that, obviously. The fact is, they rushed in. When I came in with the money on that Friday, and on that Monday, after I'd gone to Sidolo on that Thursday, everything was done in a hurry to get that land across to says Moti. Why did they agree for us to pay that 10,000? Then if it's been transferred to corporation, then they could have transferred it to us or said to us, you will sell it back to you at whatever, while, you know, like Dolo wanted to see if we can get a plot of land somewhere. Why was it a rush? Why all of a sudden? That land's been sitting there for God knows how long, since we went in exile. What triggered them to all of a sudden decide, this is such a nice plot of land. my point that I want to make is they forced us into exile. They took our land. How did they expect us to pay the 45,000 straight away like this? We agreed with them for us to pay. Then, Mr. Dauphin, who at the time was the gentleman at HSDC, said to us, yes, cases like this has happened here many times. I can give you, but I won't give you names and stuff, with people that has been given back, not that plot of land, but been given another plot of land. Somewhere because they directly asked, we want this land, prime land, they got it. Other people got a plot of land and money, but they also took loan. They went into exile, they took loan, they couldn't pay. But when they got back, they said, yes, we'll do it. We'll give you back a plot, and then a sum of money. Why didn't we get offered anything, even after they've done all of that? Offer us something. We're not going to beg them, but we want justice in this case. We are being punished for a coup d'etat they did on the people of Seychelles. We got exiled because of their greed for power. Afraid. Now you know there's bats everywhere. We've got no guns to kill the bats. So the bats are actually eating everything. We can't get mangoes. All these people just have little mangoes now because there's too many bats. Now at my house I see lots of bats because there's no guns to kill it like we used to kill bats. They never gave people that was bat killers back there. You know, what did they do with it? So, no. They are vicious, that's what they are, vicious. Government of vicious, that's what they are. Rather than say, we did wrong, we'll make amends for all the wrongdoings. Oh, no, 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 no. We did right. The country was in such a state. Which state? We had an airport that was built during Mr. Mancom's, yeah. We had fridge. During my time, we had fridge. We didn't have TV. Of course, we wouldn't get TV. We wouldn't get TV, we wouldn't get phone. These kind of mobile phone. It wasn't during my time. Their favorite word, nous ne voliez. Qui va nous volier dans le ciel? C'est là que nous ne voliez this country. Eh? The things that came with it. Yes, now. But we all had bad. When I was born, we didn't have flush toilets. We had outside toilets. My mom had means to give, yeah, but it wasn't there during those days. We all had to go outside the toilets. So when the time came for us to have a fridge, Mom had properties, but she had built houses and was renting, so we were able to. Mom never worked. My dad worked, but Mom didn't. We had 12 of us, children. Two of them died. 6 girls. Now, I've only got 3. One, two. I think I've got 3 sisters and myself now. And there's only 4 of us. There's 2 passed away. My brothers have passed away. I've only got 1 that's in Australia. So those were the times where they keep saying, nous t'y misère, nous t'y fait qu'en île. But we did. That was the days, how it was then. Now, par les autres mêmes ont dit, nous ne voliez. Yeah, évoluer. Nous évoluer, no, we go with the times now. But that was then, like I said. During my time, we go to school, you wouldn't beat a teacher. There were none of that. But now, with this kind of education they're implementing at the school, people have no respect for people these days. You badge into somebody, you know, you'll say, excuse me. Kids will barge into you and just turn around and look at you like you're a piece of whatever. I had to tell somebody off the other week. I was sitting and watching a game of football with kids. I was sitting on a chair, and then this boy came in and sort of looked at me, and he had his bag there, and he said, he just looked at me. He was pulling that chair. I said to him, I said, excuse me. I said, don't your mom and dad teach you manners? He was quite shocked, actually, because I said, if you ask me nicely, I will give you your bag. He did. Mon kaga mon sac, s'il vous plaît. So I said, there you are. So you can do it. You can say it. But you don't want to do it. So that's how backward we have gone. Yes, there's a lot of those that are very advanced, go to universities and do good education and whatever. But even our education, you know, if they don't go abroad to educate themselves a bit further, you know, they've put this country to its knees. They've thieves this country, this, you know, what involve pays. Ça paye une gagne volé, s'il vous plaît. Trop beaucoup, ce qu'on pliait, qui quantité, dont in volé. All these riches of this country could have been in the coffers of our education, teachers, and nursing. But oh no, they wanted it. How can any government in power decides to send Leopold Payet, just go to the in the finance in town, just say, I want a bag of money. Where in the world would you get this? Really? Leopold Payet send his driver, Idiave Kafif, or whoever was there in the treasury, I want a bag of money of so much, I'm taking it to State House. He said it in the FPAC. In which world do we live in for this to happen? Only here, and maybe in them African countries, maybe. But we are not that, we are part of Africa. When I was growing up, we were never told we were part of Africa. We were Seychelles. Now, everything we are part of Africa, which is fine. We are descendant of this slave, of that slave, or whatever. But don't just think that we are a country that haven't got manners, that haven't got respect for each other. We get taught this at home first, before we go to school. Manners. During my days, I would get beaten with the nun, with sticks, bamboo sticks, rulers. If I've been naughty, the nuns would go like this with the stick, and I'm going like this, releasing my finger, and then it would hit there. There. By the time I get home, Mom would be asking me, what happened at school? Because I'll try and, you know, because I was always the big mouth one. And I said, oh, you know, Mayor McTill hit me because I was rude to one of my friends or whatever. I would get beatings too. You discipline your kids.
Sorry, but interesting. But I wanted to go back to a point that you made earlier. Well, an incident rather, where somebody came into your office. Where were you working at the time? And to check on your typewriter.
Victoria House, yeah.
Working for whom?
I was working for Clive Holloway, a company. He was an English guy. He was doing some business on. Do you remember what kind of business? Because
Okay.
Clive was the kind of person, he used to do this little bit of other
Okay,
things.
so a company,
A
local
private company, yes.
But what was the reason for this person coming to look at your typewriter?
Because
I presume in those days it was a hand, was it an electric typewriter or a
no, I don't think it was electric typewriter
The
during those days.
manual
Just
ones?
manual typewriter.
Okay,
Yes, yeah.
why?
Yeah. She just came in because he was a CID in the police. So there were more inquiries going on about where originally that paper, that leaflet, that was telling a lot of things that was, going on in Seychelles and whatever. So they wanted to know who was the culprit, who was obviously doing this. One thing when a lot of people used to say to us, there's these leaflets going around in town or what, we might not have seen it. But I do remember my older brother, he was so scared. And when somebody said to him, did you see this paper? He said, don't talk to me about this paper. It was just But a lot of people, if they were going to make a photocopy, or during the time when photocopies were in the office, or in Kim Kun or wherever, those leaflets were put in pipes. If anybody wanted to sort of go in and read it, they have to go and read it. Take it from the the pipe, because they were scared if they ever get caught with it, something will happen to them, or they'll be arrested or that. But for us, I don't recall seeing the paper, the leaflet. They said that was going on, but there were leaflets being thrown everywhere. All of a sudden, you wake up on a Sunday morning, it's everywhere in town.
Two points of clarification. When you say Sergeant Baker, are you referring to Marjorie Baker?
No,
Which one?
her sister,
Okay, you don't remember her first name.
Florence Baker. She was the CID, working with Toto Lauci was there, but I don't know if Toto had any influence of what she was doing.
The second point is when you say they put those leaflets in pipes. You mean drain pipes?
Yeah. Just ordinary pipes outside your house. You'll have a pipe.
Like to get rainwater off your roof or what?
Yeah, just ordinary, just pipes. But people will just put it there for If it gets obviously wet, then it gets wet. But they were scared to even get hold or be caught with this.
I think, one thing that you made very clear is that you will never forgive. And this is a commission that is really concerned about reconciling people. And I'm just wondering, what it would take to get you to a place where you would forgive what has happened. I mean, not forget, but to be able to be at peace with what's happened.
If they could give me back my country as it used to be, then maybe I could think of forgiving them. I went through a lot. If they had gone through what I'd gone through, like I said before, my sister, first of all, went through first time prison, second time prison, Louis prison, exile. Still, they continuously carried on. Our friend, Joao, lost his life. So there's 5 So I could probably count 10, another 5 if I have to. Even Father would say to me, it's 10 commandments for me. It probably would be 10 commandments. And in my mind, I would say, the last one will say, I probably will kill myself. But no, I'm too kind of a person to say that I can bring myself to forgive. The first time I told the priest, here in Seychelles, and he said to me, that priest supports this government. And he said to me, ma fille, besoin prendre dans les corps pour capable pardonner. I looked at him and I said, as long as I live, as long as I'm on this earth, I just cannot bring myself to forgive them. Myself, in my heart, in my body, I feel angry and I can never release that anger. I bleed when I see these people on the streets, when I see them everywhere walking freely.
Would it make any difference to you if people that have been responsible for these violations came forward and admitted their responsibility and asked, apologized for their actions and asked for forgiveness and were truly sorry, obviously, not just asking for forgiveness for the sake of it?
Mrs. McIntyre, forgiveness is a very big word. If they ask him, Louis, are you prepared to forgive them? He will say yes, because he wants to see Seychelles move in a different direction. I'm sorry, but I cannot forgive. They can bring me their sorriness 50 times, 100 times over. I am happy here today that I'm able to talk about it freely with you guys and with this nation of my suffering. It has released a lot of things inside me, but I still can't bring myself to forgive them. They destroyed my youth. I was quite young, and I'm not spring chicken anymore. I'm getting older. I've gone through the battles, as I said. It's hard. As I said, I'm grateful for you guys to give me that opportunity to come here and release myself. But the one thing I cannot accept from them is saying to me, I'm sorry for what I did. Sorry is easy for them to say because they haven't gone through the trauma that I have. Louis is a forgiving man. He can forgive. He's prepared to forgive. No, I'm sorry, but I won't.
I understand you have been through like hell. This is why it's so hard for you to be able to forgive. I thank God for Mr. Betsy for being able to forgive. As a means, because this is one of our objectives, is to bring reconciliation. Would you accept eventually if we ask somebody else to come and walk alongside with you, just to be able to help you eventually, if you will be able to forgive, it's going to be okay. But just to put somebody by your side, eventually, if you, at the end of this pilgrimage together, you and the person, you will see that you can't forgive, at least
We've tried.
we will have tried.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Understand, yes. I know your purpose of what you want. You want forgiveness. These people come forward and forgive. And for Seychelles to be united and have peace and reconciliation, that's the whole purpose of it. But my God, it is hard.
I mean, at this point in time, you know, to be frank, it's been the complainants that have been coming forward and telling their stories. And we haven't had perpetrators come forward. And if we're going to reconcile this country, it takes both sides, right?
Understand
The
that,
complainant
yes.
and the perpetrator. So for us to succeed, you know, my call again for perpetrators to come forward, it's the golden opportunity for you to contribute
Yeah.
to nation building in your country without consequence to you, really, except for taking responsibility and admitting what
Yeah.
you've done,
But
basically.
if I will emphasize, the perpetrators, they dead and buried. Burying it dead and buried in cement box. Ogilvy Bear, lui, I used to, you know, talk to him. No problem when I used to see him. But in my heart, I told him I'll never forgive him. He knew that. But they dead, they will never. You think that they would, in their own mind, they see you, you think they'll be ashamed that they did something, maybe it wasn't right, maybe there was this, maybe we were too greedy. You think that would bring themselves when they see you and say, you know, I'm really sorry what happened. But he never did. He had the opportunity to probably say to me, look, I'm really sorry, Louis, I'm really sorry for putting you through all this, and, you know, you had to, you know. But one thing that I do take on board is we had a great life in England. Through all this, we went into exile. We made a great life for our children. But then even if we were here, we might not have made a great life, but we would have given them respect. And that is important. My son could have been traumatized. But we were there, both of us, we were there to shield him out of this. But there are children that has been traumatized. Even in their late sort of, you know, when they think of this and that, they are traumatized. But we were lucky Kevin was not traumatized.
So with that permission, I'll be in touch with you and see if somebody would be able to work alongside with you.
Okay, no
Thank you.
problem. Thank you, Father.
If I may say something here, what you've just told us about your life in England is a cause for serious reflection. It shows you that sometimes, even from something wrong, from a painful situation, there can be some benefits that come out.
Understand that, yes.
So when you reflect on all these things, it might be able to, it may be help you to find that little spot in your heart which will start the forgiveness process, and then it will spread. I understand your suffering. I've been through it myself, personally. The same sort of things you're talking about. But I've come back here and I'm on this commission because I want, like you've said, Mr. Betsy wants, I want to see Seychelles move forward. I want to see this reconciliation. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, yes.
Thank you.
Avec Madame Betsy, I think your greatest psychologist is Mr. Lewis himself. So if he is able to go into that directions, I'm very hopeful one day you will be there with assistance, because you have been saying he's willing to forgive and he's ready to forgive. Looking at his face, I'm totally convinced with his assistance, he will forgive.
He has tried so many times.
He will be trying again. Thank you.
He has tried so many times. I've kicked him back. He hasn't succeeded so far. My son says to me, Mom, you need to move on and leave it all behind you. And I said, but you suffered too. He said, yeah, but I was little. You know, he's made a great life for him. As I said, you know, I would never be able to thank the British government for giving us a roof over our head.
But
With
I
this, you know.
think you should sort of start planning a very, very precious gift to Louis. And that would be the day you tell him, I'm ready to start the forgiveness.
He'll have a
You-
long wait.
You'll make him a very happy man.
Yeah, probably.
Here we go. Thank you so much for your evidence today. I know it's been very enlightening for the Commission to listen to you and to hear what you had to say, and also from your husband. Gives us, especially me, you know, a much better understanding of the circumstances after the coup d'etat and the impact on individuals that were targeted as a result of that coup d'etat. So unless there's anything else you would like to say to us, we will.
Okay, thank you very much,
Yeah,
all of
thank
you.
you.
You know, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Mrs. Betsy. So the next witness we had scheduled for today is Mr. Serge Monti, but apparently he is not here. You want to give another call? He was due at 2, it's 2:03. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. If he's not here, we'll adjourn. No witness. I wonder if you want to address it. All right, while we're waiting, I will take the opportunity to clarify something, if I can find my piece of paper. I've been asked a few questions, or there seems to be an idea out there that while this commission is offering an amnesty, an international court could overturn that amnesty, and therefore it's vulnerable to that action by an international court. The International Criminal Court, to which Seychelles is a state party, Seychelles joined that court in August 2010. Now, the jurisdiction of that court over crimes that were committed in the Seychelles only commences from the date that the Seychelles joined that court. So any crimes that occurred prior to August 2010, that court does not have jurisdiction over those crimes. And another issue I wanted to point out about the International Criminal Court is it deals with two sets of crimes. Crimes against humanity, which can occur in times of armed conflict or in times of peace. And they are basically crimes that occur within the context of a widespread and systematic attack against the civilian population, or crimes that occur in the theatre of war. My best reading of the law is that the crimes that occurred in the Seychelles would not fit within the definition of crimes within the International Criminal Court. So there's two barriers there for an international court exercising jurisdiction over the crimes that we are hearing about, the complaints we're hearing about. The court doesn't have jurisdiction because the court only has jurisdiction from August 2010, and the crimes do not fall within the types of crimes that that court is dealing with. So the amnesty that is being offered here is an amnesty that will not be threatened by an international criminal court. I just wanted to clarify that in case people that have committed human rights violations that want to come forward, that were worried that their evidence would be used to incriminate them in another forum, they have nothing to worry about. Michael was going to say it in Creole. I did have a piece of paper, but I'll look for it again, Michael. Maybe it's here. Oh, here. Michael will repeat me in Creole.
Ce que Mme McIntyre expliquait, il concerne sa question si la Cour, la justice internationale est capable de renverser une amnistie qui nous est donnée ici par sa commission. Mme McIntyre expliquait pour dire Seychelles, tu ratifié convention avec la Cour criminelle internationale en août 2010. Et c'est qu'à partir de sa date, qui ça la Cour, il y en a une juridiction, le Seychelles. Son deuxième point qu'il fait, c'est la Cour internationale, la Cour criminelle internationale, il écoute des affaires quotidiennement, par exemple, un crime contre l'humanité, mais là, un échelle beaucoup plus grand qui ordinairement est arrivé quand il y a un conflit. Bonne complainte qui nous gagne jusqu'à présent, il pas Tom ambassade des conditions. Nous n'avons pas un conflit, nous n'avons pas crime contre l'humanité, et bonne allégation qui peut venir devant nous, il datait avant 2010. Et pour ça, des raisons, ils sont l'opinion que la Cour criminelle internationale pas pour capable de renverser une décision qu'il fait ici. Ça veut dire que n'importe qui perpetrator qui tient compte devant, mais qui tient une affaire qui quelquefois il gagne amnistie, mais quelquefois sa amnistie gagne révoquée par la Cour internationale, il a gagné l'assurance présent que ça pas capable d'arriver. Et ça veut dire qu'il n'est pas perpetrator qui les vient devant. Nous demandons, nous implorons, s'il vous plaît, venez parler sa question révocation et amnistie, fatigue la tête. S'il vous plaît, encore une fois, on lance un appel, le nom commission en entier, pour tout ça qui compte n'importe quelle information qu'ils ont pensé y a utile pour mettre le record de droite. Et ça, il faut pas nous demander pour établir un record qui est exact et complète, aussi complète que possible. Alors, nous sommes contents, tout le monde qui a n'importe l'information, s'il vous plaît, prends contact avec nous, viens devant nous. Vous êtes capable d'écrire nous. Il y a dans d'autres nos numéros de téléphone, nos numéros boîte postale, nos bonnes adresses email, Nos boîte postale est 50N3, mais il beau vallon. Il beau vallon, parce que nous pas qu'à gagner en ville, n'a pas une ville en ville, nous besoin de gagner une boîte beau vallon. Alors, mais Truth and Reconciliation Commission, PO Box 5013, Beauvalon, Mahé. Pour ça, nous avons nos numéros de téléphone, ID 90399. Vous mettez 4 devant. Nos emails est commission@trnuc.sc. Et pour vous autres suivre, pour des gens qui sont intéressés, suivre et gagner l'information. Donc, qui nous peut faire, qui peut venir devant nous, vous êtes capable d'aller sur nos website www.trnuc.sc. S'il vous plaît, faites tout ce possible pour venir dire nous ce qu'ils connaissent. Je remercie les autres d'avance.
Okay, thank you very much. We note that the witness we were expecting to hear has not arrived, so we will adjourn now and we will resume at 3 o'clock for our last witness of the day, which is Patrick Leblache. Thank you. Thank you.